Our next speaker is Dwan Scott. Dwan is an industrial designer, a researcher and a writer who's based in Adelaide, so he's up here for a little while for our panel. His practice crosses over the areas of graphic, industrial and interior design, and he's worked on a really wide range of projects from jewellery to product design, furniture, exhibition design, retail spaces, and also large-scale public sculpture. He's also spent a bit of time writing academic publications and design blogs. And I highly recommend his blog on Pinocchio, so just go and Google Pinocchio and you'll find Dwan's blog there, which is really great. He's also, like other members on this panel, a PhD candidate at the University of South Australia, and his area of research is mass customization and the democratization of product design. Most importantly, I suppose, for this panel, he's also working at Shapeways, which is one of the leading places where people are starting to do all of this kind of stuff. So thanks for being here, Dwan, and welcome.
Thank you. There's my email address. If anyone's got any questions afterwards, shoot them through. I'll try and respond. Basically, I started looking at mass customization about 3.5 years ago because as an industrial designer, I was constantly working on bespoke projects, on one-off, on art, on interiors, on little bits and pieces, but never any mass production. And I was thinking, why did I spend 4 years studying industrial design when I haven't been using it? What am I going to do with this? And so I started looking to how digital design works, how things work online, how movies work, how software works, how there's a long tail of distribution. And I was thinking of this long tail of distribution and thinking, how's this going to work when products are digital? And so I started researching mass customization. About 6 months into it, Pinocchio started up, which is a laser cutting firm at the time where you can upload a file, they'll laser cut it and send it back to you, and which I thought was pretty cool. So I started writing for their blog and getting deeper into it. So this is also part of my PhD, which I've started and may never complete, but that's an old tale. After about 2.5 to 3 years of working with Pinocchio, Shapeways had started to emerge, doing the same thing as Pinocchio was doing with laser cutting, but with 3D printing. And I thought they were quite interesting. They were doing good things, printing out bits of plastic. And I thought, it's fun, but it's not really a game-changing thing yet because you can make gadgets, but you can't make products. And then they started printing stainless steel, and I thought, okay, here we go. Now we can make, complex components, mechanical components, anything, because we've got, reliable, sturdy materials. So Shapeways advertised for a marketing department person, and I applied from 17,000 kilometres away and didn't get the job, but I got a job, just doing some research for them and just talking them up. So now here I am talking them up. So the idea of Shapeways is basically anyone can make anything with 3D printing at the moment. You upload a file, if you've got some CAD skills, they'll 3D print it for you and send it back in 10 days' time. That's cool. There's 3D printing here. There's 3D printing in hubs all around Australia, around the world. So it's good, but it's not amazing. What's amazing is you can then sell your designs that you're 3D printing. Now, if you're a designer, an artist, a sculptor, a magician, whatever you want to be, you can 3D print a product, take a photograph of it, like your sunglasses, put it online, and sell it. Now, the thing is, when you're selling it, you don't need to make the thing yourself. You don't need to stock inventory. You don't need to ship it out. You don't need to take money off the buyer. You just get a passive income from your sales. So, as far as a designer goes, what better way is there to experiment and take risks than one where you have no risks? So the idea is you design something, choose a material, upload it, print it out, take a photograph, put it online, sell it. Now the materials range from nylon, white plastics, ABS like this Rapman's printing out, stainless steel, sterling silver, ceramics, glass and full colour gypsum powder, and there'll be more and more materials coming up with more complexity. So people started off doing little widgets. It was started off for the geeks. There was dice, there was Rubik's cubes, there was little widgets. But now we're seeing jewelry, we're seeing more complex design. So in the top left-hand corner is a piece of jewelry by Nervous System. Now, Nervous System use genetic algorithms to create forms. And so they're these two architects out of MIT, and they're doing this facade for a building, and they've got the little facade on their desktop. And someone walks past and goes, "Wow, is that a bracelet?" And they go, "Yeah, that's a bracelet." 2 years later, they're employing somebody, both of them making a couple $100K a year, purely out of 3D printed designs and some laser cutting. So they've got a more or less passive income from their designs. You can tweak their designs online. They've got these little applets, so you can modify their cell cycle jewelry, make one for yourself, get it 3D printed, so you've got a customised object. So there's mass customisation coming in. There's people who are doing... sorry, I keep looking up. There's people who are doing like little pegs, little light bulbs, whatever else. So you design something, you upload it, you print it, easy. But then you're also starting to talk about concepts and theories and communicating ideas through 3D printing. So in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a cup, which is the weather patterns in Sydney of the last 100 years. And it looks like a beautiful design cup, but you can see that as it gets further and further closer to the present time, it comes out and out and out because the temperature's raising over the years. So as well as communicating a design, there's a story behind it. Now, if you went to IKEA and said, "I want to make a cup based on Sydney's weather patterns," I'd say, "There's a door, we're not going to sell 200,000 of those." But this guy can sell 3 of them and make a profit because there's no investment needed. The complexity of ideas is limitless because anyone can do anything they want. If you can 3D model, you can make it happen. If you can't 3D model, people are starting to make tools so that you can create from sketch. So in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a pair of earrings, which is made from a hand drawing. So we have a PDF template, you do a hand sketch on it, you upload it to the site, we'll extrude it at a certain depth based on how thick the line is, and then we'll 3D print it in silver, stainless steel, gold, whatever you want, and you've got your customised earrings personalised, especially for you with no CAD skills. So there's 2 things going on. One is that designers can make what they want, sell it without any risk. The other thing is anyone can make anything with these simple online tools, which are getting more and more complex. It's completely open, so as you mentioned, there's some really, really good designs, and there's loads and loads and loads of absolute crap because it's completely democratized. Anyone can do what they want. Doesn't cost anything to upload, doesn't cost anything to print. You can just do whatever you want. So we're seeing some really beautiful designs and some really bad ones. We're seeing some people make really good business ideas come into reality, building businesses off the back of 3D printing. These 2 guys out of New York designed a simple bit of plastic that holds the iPhone into a normal camera tripod. It would have cost them about $7 to print, let's say, in theory. So they print one out, they do a little video of it, and they put it on Kickstarter. Do you guys know Kickstarter? It's a crowdsourcing way to fund concepts. They were looking for $10,000 so they can take it to mass production. In the first weekend, they got about $48,000. By the end of the month, I think they had 170K of investment and 7,000 orders for their product. So they invested $25 worth of 3D printing, and that's their net outcome. Now they've got a business, they're selling them all around the world, and they're also doing new ideas. So they're doing like your iPad stand, they're making a retrofit for the old iPad so you can use the new iPad stands for iPad, blah, blah, blah. Concepts based with no risk. There's your niche superstars like Oscar van der Venter, who designed the 17 by 17 Rubik's Cube. Now, this guy is a superstar in the twisty puzzle world. If you went to Hasbro and tried to pitch a 17 by 17 Rubik's Cube, they'd send you to the door. But he sold 2, and he makes $2,000 a pop out of them. So he's doing all right. He also made the Love Cube, which sounds rude. But what it is, it was commissioned by someone who wanted to propose to his girlfriend. They're both twisty puzzle geeks. So he makes it so that he wants it so when you solve the puzzle, it opens up and presents the engagement ring.
She hasn't solved it yet.
So far there's been 4 weddings based on his Love Cube. And I'm serious. Okay, so then there's with 3D printing, there's no cost in complexity. You can have customization, or you can have wildly intricate parts, and it's often cheaper to make things more complex. So this is the Strand Beast. Now, Theo van Jansen is a Dutch artist who makes these giant Strand Beasts, which are beach monsters or something. If anyone's Dutch, I don't know. And the idea is he makes them out of bamboo. They're wind-powered, and they walk along the beach by themselves. And he's got a whole raft of fans, and a couple of the fans, these kids in the Netherlands, who thought, we want to make them to 3D print. So without any of Theo Jansen's input, they designed the Strand Beast to be 3D printed. Now, this comes out of the machine. You can see it coming out of the dust with no assembly or anything like that, and it instantly works sometimes. So you can have, moving parts, complexity, and it costs the same as doing something that's still and stiff, because it's all about material costs. Now, the great thing is that these guys who modelled it for Theo Jansen, they didn't want any money for this. They just wanted to help him out because they thought he was cool. So it's now on sale on Shapeways, and all the markup, the profits, go straight to the artist, not to the designers. So this artist who's been, working out in some obscurity somewhere, puts this online. He, let's just say, in a weekend that these went on sale, he made about $6,000 in markup without doing a thing. Okay, so there's a passive income model, and the way it works is online. So it's about viral marketing. With mass customization, with personalised design, comes personalised marketing and personalised networks. So it goes on Facebook, it goes on Twitter, it goes on Tumblr, it goes on blogs, it goes on Boing Boing, and suddenly it goes viral and people start telling each other about these designs. So you don't have to take out an ad in Vogue, in FHM, in the Sydney Morning Herald. You just put it on your blog, you tell your friends on Facebook, they tell their friends, and suddenly this thing sells in the thousands, and someone gets a passive income model. So this is a good side. Oh, am I going backwards?
Yep.
Sorry, it's got it upside down. That's a good side. This is do a hand sketch and get it 3D printed in silver, or have a bitmap, upload it, 3D printed in whatever material you like. And these will get more and more complex. So the bad side is IP issues. Copyright, it's hard to protect something that's digital, as we know from music, videos, games, whatever. Once it's digitized, it can get out there and be pirated, be copied, whatever. In product design, in clothing, in many things, it's about the quality of material. So there's no copyright on clothing, because if you get a garment from the streets, the Sydney markets, it's different from the high-end version, which is made with good fabrics. With 3D printing, there's no differentiation because they're all coming out of the same machines. So there's going to be issues here. This issue is the impossible triangle, which became has become the symbol for this issue, because this guy, he designed a way to make the Penrose triangle in 3D. So I should have the video, but you move it around and it looks like a 3D object that's going backwards in space, blah, blah, blah. So in itself, it's a curiosity. So he put it online and said, I've solved this problem, check it out. Within 2 days, someone with some malicious content had copied it, figured out how to do it, copied it, and put it on Thingiverse for free, so that this guy could no longer get an income from his design. So then the guy puts a DMCA notice, which is a Digital Millennium Copyright Act notice, on Thingiverse. Thingiverse starts to quake and takes it offline, and is ensuing animosity between the designer, the copier, the websites, and the blogs who posted about it. And in the end, the guy realises he hasn't got rights to do that, to copyright the idea, the design. He pulls a DMCA notice. Now, all this happened from the guy's original concept to all this hullabaloo, to it being copied, to being brought back from copyright in 19 days. Okay, so things are moving fast in this area. If there's lawyers involved, let's say, what's the quickest resolution that's ever been in the Copyright Act? So at the moment, there's IP issues we have to deal with, but apart from that, it's all rosy. So the thing is, though, just you have to pump out ideas. Basically, it's about ideas being quick, being first, getting it out there, selling it, moving on. We can't hold on to things like we can in the past. It's digital. Thank you.
That's great. Well, thanks very much, Duan, and thanks to all of our speakers. I suppose one of the things I'm interested in is in this tension that's in all of the presentations tonight between whether we're going to end up with a whole bunch of bad kind of design or whether we could end up with these new possibilities. And I wonder if some of you, might like to make a few comments. I thought, Andrew, in particular, you were heading down that path. What do you think some of the pros and cons are?
But I think it's fascinating. When I was watching the other presentations too, you see that I think people haven't quite come to terms with how to use this stuff yet. We sort of do it as a very thin, lightweight structure that has no body to it, or is it used as a sort of dumb compression, or is it used to do things with very fine detail? And I think maybe the issue is that while we're grappling with what's the best way to use this technology and how does it perform the best, we're forgetting that design's really important in that how it relates to people. It's all about, does it actually make you feel something, or when you hold it, is it beautiful? And I think that maybe that's what I'm seeing. A lot of people grappling with, what do I do with this? It's amazing, I want to do something, what do I do? And forgetting that what you should be working at is what needs to be done, and working backwards that way. So.
I was interested, I know Dwan wants to say something, but Damien, you were talking about how just giving people access to that process. So, if process is something that we're lacking as everything goes digital, so we no longer have dark rooms and processing. What do you think the benefit of actually giving people access to the machines is, given that the sorts of things that Dwan is doing is really providing access to something else? You never touch the machine in Shapeways. You do something very different.
Yeah, I think it's very fascinating, leap that can be made as well, which is the MakerBot started off, or the Rapid Wrap started off as a device that was a kit and you made, you constructed it, and a lot of people kind of jumped onto that and said, hey, I want to make a thing, and then they built it, and then we're like, well, what do we do now with it?
Right, so they ordered the machine over the net, it arrives, and you've got to unpack it a bit like one of Andrew's kind of boats.
Exactly, and so then I think it's now, the time is now to then say, well, these type of little machines and, the kit that's already made up that allows, now even a child in primary school to sit down, sketch something up, mill it out, see it being milled out of something, or see it being rapid prototyped, and then take that back and go, hang on, the way that this layer builds it up, the way that this part's made, the way it cracks, the way it breaks, and then have this direct, immediate response. I mean, we live in such a world at the moment which is outsourcing, it's we outsource all our products to be made in China. We outsource, and I think the idea of local manufacture, the community, the craftsman, the artisan, will merge with a lot of these digital technologies. And I see that we don't need to then also keep the visual traits of the past going just for the sake, because a lot of those visual nuances were based on old making technologies and the processes of that. So now we've got new technologies and new opportunities.
I wonder, Colleen, did you want to just jump in there as well before Dwan comes in and gives us
I guess he's ready. I guess with people making a lot of crap that's out there, I think they're really doing something for us in that a lot of the time with something that's so new and quite technical, they're exploring all of the new things that can be done, and they're solving the issues that I couldn't solve. So when I was going online, I was looking at other projects that other people had made to try and learn how to use my accelerometer to write my code for it.
Yep.
And there were so many ugly projects aesthetically that just had, stitching all over it, all the parts exposed on the outside. But they're solving one problem for me.
Maybe they had some really beautiful code that you could use.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if people have different skills, and if you kind of can learn from everyone else and what they're making in their ugliness, I think.
Okay, Dwan.
I think there's ugly and there's meaning. I see, when I look at the back, I think there's 30,000 things for sale on Shapeways at the moment, and it's a long tail. and the tail goes down for infinity of crapness, right? But
or goodness, as the case
each one of
may be.
those one things is incredibly meaningful to those people, like because they've made it themselves, and they make this whatever ring, and they'll wear it until it disintegrates off their body because they made it. That means so much to them. Not that I'm saying it's aesthetically good or whatever, but they did it. It has this.
But did they make it? Didn't they outsource it?
They outsourced it. They designed it.
I mean, just to be provocative.
No, I actually I also think that that's also a sustainable model too.
Yeah.
Like sustainability to me is like garbage when you just say, "Oh, let's make it out of cardboard," and suddenly it's sustainable. Like making it more relevant and that having the user make it and make it for themselves makes a cheap piece of commodity plastic into something that's...
So what they do, like so at Shapeways and other services like that, I mean, you still have to make the product, you have to conceive of them, right? And then you just assist in the realisation.
The physical part.
Yeah, but it's fascinating what you're saying, because that's entirely right. The origins of industrial design were hands-on tools. That was, you went to the workshop and you learned and you made a mistake, or you saw how a process could be simpler, and that's completely removed. You just create the CAD model and get the part. It's really interesting because a lot of my design process has been about being down at the lathe and turning something up and making a small change. And it's fascinating. I wonder how we're going to resolve that.
Yeah, Jonathan Ives of Apple stated that industrial design in Britain was dying because of the lack of engagement with the making process, and a company like Apple, which you straight away think digital design, you think beautiful products, is highly engaged with the making process down to the level where they get their factories to buy exactly the machines that they want them to buy.
Now, guys, we're going to run out of time soon. We've got a few questions from the audience. Some are very urgent. I think we can do some of them really quickly. Like, how much is a 3D printer? So give us some ranges. Like this model that we've got.
Wrap band out of the box, 2,500.
This is the big one over there.
Yep. And that's all the hardware and drivers and stuff you need to get it running.
And MakerBot down from $750.
MakerBot's
MakerBot.
About $750.
And
this little baby on the table here.
This is pre-production sample, so when it gets released, it'll be, I think, about the $900 mark.
Okay. We've got another more specific question about the machine over here. And it's probably Andrew, your question here.
Yep.
Can someone explain in detail how that box is actually making that bloody helix? Like right here, right now, how can that be? Can someone please explain?
I think the best way to describe this is FDM, so form deposition modelling. And basically, the best way to describe an FDM, it's like a hot glue gun. So everyone's used a hot glue gun, it's got a bit of glue that goes in, you squeeze it out. So that little head that's squeezing out the thing, it's had some issues somewhere along the line there. But let's not be too hard on it. And so there's a little head, it's basically a tiny little hot glue gun. So, and then it's just working like a printer. So a printer, knows where it is on the paper and puts a little dot. And this one is putting a little dot, on the X and Y axis, and then it's also going up in layers. So it's kind of, when you think about it that way, it's kind of really simple. But actually doing that in a way that, can take a complex file and work out how to do that and not continually go back to zero is where it's really complicated.